There's a story today that NBCnews.com ran, and it says Chairman Comer, who's leading the investigation into Joe Biden's use of the auto pen for pardons and other things, that Chairman Comer often signs letters as part of the investigation using an auto pen. It couldn't be more different, right? It's not about pardons and the question of who's signing them. And he's not signing subpoenas with the auto pen. He's just signing letters. No serious person could think that was a news story. And yet NBC wrote it up as if it was a gotcha hypocrisy thing. So here's the question. Here's the question I'd ask you, which I engaged on Twitter with folks today. Do people at NBC know that that is a phony story, but they write it on purpose? Or are they so deluded that they think it's a real story?
Well, I'm afraid I think it's the latter, Mark. I mean, as young journalists come along and they hear a story about auto pen being used by Mr. Biden, and therefore, anybody using an auto pen becomes a kind of an equivalent in their mind and imagination. And the next thing you know, you got stories written about it when it's perfectly clear, or should be, that nobody is talking about Mr. Biden's use of the auto pen for letters and other routine things. The concern, to the extent there is a concern, is about using the auto pen for very serious official documents, such as pardons and the like.
Where he may not have been the signer,
right?
The decider.
Yeah, that's right, and that's the concern. My own view is that the pardon power, which is what's most often talked about, is so plenary, so nearly absolute, that if he chose to do it by, saying certain categories of people should be pardoned, and the staff then whipped up a group that fit the criteria, and the auto pen was used to do it, that probably passes muster in the courts.
You've been smart enough largely to stay out of management, but let's say you were the Washington bureau chief of NBC News, and Comer's comms director called you and said, "Britt, this story you guys have on the website's ridiculous." And you looked at it and you said, "Yeah, it's ridiculous." What would you do then?
Well, I'd take it down, and I would call the journalists who are involved in it sit them down, and ask some questions about how it is that they reasoned out the idea that this was a news story. And if the reasoning was as faulty as it seems to be, they would be reprimanded, and it would be a mark against them.